What is up, everybody? My name is Justin. This is Forever Self-Employed. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to quote jobs. I literally get this question every single day on the channel, so hopefully this answers a ton of questions for a lot of you guys. I'm going to be doing this PowerPoint presentation style, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, you guys, welcome to class. This is our PowerPoint mode. So obviously in today's video, we're talking about how to quote pressure washing jobs like we mentioned in the beginning. Before we get into that, though, I do want to mention that today is the launch day for Beyond the Blueprint. What is Beyond the Blueprint? It is me and Aaron's membership group. So in this membership group, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing one-on-one Facebook ad walkthroughs and consultations. So you guys are going to be submitting your Facebook advertisements, whether they're not working as well as you'd like. And I'm going to be critiquing them live for you guys, as well as I'm going to be showing you some of the other tips and tricks that I've been implementing recently. We're going to be looking at some of my ads that I'm currently running that are working, as well as I'm going to be featuring other people in the membership group who have ads that are working. And we're going to be going through some of the tactics and strategies that really will help you guys to drive more leads with Facebook ads. And it's going to be live. It's going to be a bi-weekly webinar style. You guys are gonna be able to come in, ask questions, and do that whole deal. Also, Aaron's gonna be teaching Google My Business training. He's gonna show you guys how he ranks #1 in a bunch of different areas around Nashville for Google My Business, as well as he's gonna be talking about web content secrets. So how he is able to kind of leverage web content into ranking his website really high on Google as well. So ton of value in this group. There's also gonna be accountability. And then ongoing business mentorship. So nobody's doing the GMB trainings. Like I said, we're going to be doing one-on-one Facebook ad trainings. So if you guys are interested in the membership, check out the first link in the comment section and in the description. The second link is going to be to our pressure washing business course, the #1 selling pressure washing business course in the world if you're not ready for the membership. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and hop right into this one. So there's essentially 3 different ways that we can quote. First and foremost, we can quote based upon square footage of the home or driveway or roof or whatever it is that we're going to be cleaning. So in order to quote based upon square footage, we want to look up industry standards for square footage pricing for pressure washing in our area. So I put up a picture on the screen of Home Advisor. They posted this picture here. It says power or pressure washing costs anywhere from 15 cents to 75 cents per square foot, which is fine and dandy, but that's a 60-cent swing. And if we're doing a 2,000 square foot home, this does not help us in any way, shape, or form. So I just thought that that was funny. That's why I put it up on the screen. But the other way that we can quote is we can quote based off of our time. So how long will the job take multiplied by whatever you want to make per hour? And so the last way that we can quote would be we could do a flat rate for houses and driveways. I wouldn't recommend the last way for any beginner out there. The last way for quoting is more so for businesses that have been in business for a long time. They pretty much have it down to a science. They can wash pretty much any size house within a couple of hours of each other. That's kind of the scenario where you would want to do a flat rate for quoting, but definitely not for any beginner who's learning equipment, learning chemicals, things like that. So no method is correct or perfect. It is basically up to you. And I want to include this in here because I'm going to give you guys some different strategies and techniques. And towards the end, we're going to be talking about how to dial in our quoting so that way we're basically getting the results that we want to. However, no method is necessarily the right way. No method is necessarily the wrong way. So you can go by any of these different ways if you want to. It's really up to you guys. All right, so quoting based upon square footage. So I use square footage quotes for quoting roof cleanings and driveway cleaning sometimes. And the best tool to use to find square footage is going to be Google Earth. So if you guys have never used Google Earth, it essentially allows you to take measurements of the property and it gives you a good estimate on the square footage. So you can do the Google Earth view. You can take the measurement tool and you can basically apply it around the roof or the driveway, and it'll give you about what the square footage is. And then you take your square footage and you multiply it times whatever the price is that you've deemed a good price for your square footage within your area. And that's how you get your final price. Another way that you can find the square footage of a house is you can Google the property. And if it's ever been listed for sale, there's going to be some information regarding the property's square footage. So 2 ways to find square footage: use Google Earth in order to measure the surfaces that you're going to be cleaning, multiply that times whatever you deem the proper amount per square footage. And it really ranges from place to place. Cost of living, cost of, the average cost of houses. Like if you're in a $1 million neighborhood, that's going to vary a lot more than if you're in a trailer park. Or if you're in Mississippi, that's going to vary a lot more than if you're in California. Also on supply and demand, how many people are in your area? There's a ton of different factors that go into varying what you should charge per square footage. But we're going to be talking about how to dial that in here in just a little bit, as I mentioned before. So anyway, Google Earth, or you can find the square footage just by simply Googling the property. Now let's kind of get into pricing per hour, that kind of technique. So I recommend the strategy for beginners because this is how I started in my business. Basically, what I would do is I would go out to do a quote with a client, and I would ask the homeowner if I could take some pictures of the property as we walked around it. And basically what I would say is, hey, I like to consult my dad on pricing. Is it okay if I take some pictures as we walk around the property? This allowed me to do two things. I didn't have to quote on the spot because I didn't like doing that. I felt the pressure of it. Plus, the customer feels the pressure. Also, I got to take the pictures, go back to my dad, and then we would kind of figure out pricing together. So when I took the pictures back to my dad, he would ask me, how long do you think it'll take you to do this out of the house? How long do you think it'll take you to do the front patio, the back patio, this driveway, whatever the case may be. And we'd kind of talk through it, figure out how many hours it would take. And then I would multiply whatever amount of hours we deem the job to take times whatever I wanted to make per hour. So when I first started, I was 20 years old, and I knew that if I worked somewhere, I would basically be making minimum wage, which at the time was probably like $7.25 or something, but I could probably make $10 an hour working for someone else. So my goal whenever I first started was just to make $30 an hour, because 30 is much better than 10, obviously. But if you've been doing this for a long time, obviously you know that you can make a ton more money pressure washing than just $30 an hour. And I didn't have YouTube at the time, so I didn't know, what I could be charging. However, if you're like me, this is going to be the difference between a minimum wage job and working for yourself. So I'll take $30 an hour all day if that is the case. I'd much rather work for myself. So for a normal one-story house, I might figure that it would take me 6 hours to do. So 6 hours times $30 would be about $180. So this was great money to me back then. $180 was crazy to make in a day because I was used to working like for 2 weeks and making $500 on a paycheck. So I was cool with that. If you are in a similar situation as me, I would recommend starting low on your pricing. You might say, Justin, making $180 a day is way better than what I'm doing right now. Start there. I think it's a good place to start. If you think it's too low, raise it up. But basically, whenever you start low, you can kind of leverage the low-cost leader mentality within the marketplace, and then you can leverage that to learn more skills necessary to make more money. Because when you learn how to clean faster, more efficiently, more effectively, then you can kind of start raising your prices. Also, you get better at talking with customers, presenting your quote, doing a bunch of different things to kind of establish yourself as an authority within the marketplace rather than somebody who's just getting started. So what I did whenever I was first starting is I started low, $30 an hour on a regular house, making about $180. It was way better than minimum wage. But you can start wherever you want to. Everybody on YouTube makes fun of the $99 guy, obviously. However, it's okay to be low cost in the beginning, but just don't stay there for forever, or you won't be running the business. The business is going to be running you. And this is kind of the scenario that I got myself in because I was afraid to upgrade my equipment or have something break or spend more money on marketing because I wasn't making good enough money to invest back into my business. So start low if you need to, leverage that into experience, learning more things, and then as you grow, get better, raise your prices. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get into how to dial in your pricing. This is going to be a scale because that's how we're kind of going to weigh it. So we want to adjust our price based upon our conversion rate and our lead flow. So if we have a low lead flow, then we're going to need to charge a lower price because we can't afford to lose those clients because we don't have as many coming in. Also, if we have a lower conversion rate with the people that we are quoting, we probably need to raise our price. On the other end, if we have a high lead flow, we can charge a higher price because we can afford to lose some of those customers. And if we have a high conversion rate, then we're charging too low of a price and we need to raise our prices. All right, so out of the last 10 quotes that we did, how many did we land? This is basically going to be our closing percentage. For me, whenever I first started, I didn't want to run out and do a ton of different quotes. So I would charge a lower price and I would have a higher conversion rate. I also didn't have a ton of leads coming in, so I couldn't really afford to lose a lot of jobs. Now for you, you might be a marketing wizard and you can afford to charge higher prices because you have a ton of lead flow coming in and you can afford to actually lose some jobs. So there's no set number where you need to be at. However, I would say you're not going to get 10 out of 10. I would say 8 out of 10 is probably a little high. And I would say probably 3 or 4 out of 10 is probably a little low. You probably want to fall within that 5 to 7 range out of the last 10. Now, obviously, land as many jobs as you want to, but if you fall within that middle sweet spot, you know that your pricing is about right. If you're not landing enough jobs, it's because your pricing is probably a little high. If you're landing too many jobs, your pricing is probably a little too low. So this is a way that we can dial in our pricing based on how we are showing up in the marketplace. And if we use 10, that should be a good enough sample size in order to get a good idea of where our pricing sits within the market. All right, you guys. So let's kind of get into the conclusion here. First and foremost, there's no perfect pricing strategy. Secondly, you want to pick one of the methods that we talked about today and start on the lower side of the pricing spectrum. That way we can get jobs, gain experience, and then raise our price as we figure out our marketing and we get a more steady lead flow. We then want to track the leads. So who converted, who didn't, how much was the quote, and then you'll begin to see pricing patterns. And this is kind of where we can get that flat rate idea, because you're going to learn, okay, this is how much I need to charge for a standard house wash. This is how much I need to charge for a standard driveway. So in the beginning, we're going to need to track everything. If you guys don't have a way to keep up with customers and clients and prospects, then you need to check out my link in the comment section description. I have a 2-week free trial to a CRM. It's going to be invaluable to you guys. Customer acquisition cost is a real thing. That's basically the cost of acquiring a new customer. And that could either be sweat equity or dollars spent. So if you're passing out flyers and you're like, oh, it takes me nothing to get new clients, it takes a lot of sweat equity to get those. So no matter what, you guys need to be putting all these people, all these prospects into a system and keeping up with them. Because even if somebody doesn't close this year, you could be able to contact them the next year and try to get their business again. So get a CRM. We need to track our leads, who converted, who didn't, how much was quoted, and then we'll begin to see those pricing patterns. And before you know it, you'll be like, man, what is with all these $99 guys? And you'll remember, okay, this is where I started out at. But by that point, you'll have more referrals, more reviews. You'll have figured out how to leverage your service by providing more value to the customer and by being compensated for that value. So, all right, you guys. So as you can see, there's no perfect pricing strategy. What I would recommend starting off with is go by the hour, charge an hourly rate, and just kind of guesstimate how much time it's going to take you as you gain experience. As you get better, you'll be able to do jobs faster. You're going to see those pricing patterns, and then you're just going to be able to quote jobs just by walking out, taking a look, and be like, okay, this is how much it's going to cost. Also, what we want to do is we want to start off quoting low. We want to keep an eye on our conversion percentage. If we're converting too high, we want to charge higher prices. If we're converting too low, we want to lower our prices. And then we want to change those up based on lead flow. So low lead flow, lower prices, high lead flow, higher prices. I hope this made sense for you guys. I hope it helped you out. Like I said, I get this question all the time on the channel. If you guys have any more questions with regards to pricing, leave those down in the comment section below. I might do another video kind of following up. But this is the basic premise behind pricing. Like I said, if you guys want to join the mentorship group, check out the first link in the comment section description. The second link is going to be to our pressure washing business course. If you guys did enjoy the video, comment down below pricing and I will hashtag you a real one. I greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Justin. This is Forever Self-Employed. Until next time, hustle hard and get that money, baby. Peace.